Okay, welcome to another episode of Studies in the Fifth Dimension. Today we're going to continue dealing with what we become after death. So, on the first episode, I think it was, I started talking about how after death, we become sons, hosts to our own planets, hosts to our own galaxies, hosts to our own creation, our own holographic reality that we create from our mind. And I'm going to explain this a little bit more by connecting a lot of the sciences that previous cultures had. So when we deal with this, we have to deal first with the connection between the cultures. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with the mystery systems, specifically revolving around the North Star, revolving around the Great Mother, revolving around the North Pole, revolving around the North, the people of the Spirit, the people of the North, or the Northwest Gate, a maximum. So we're going to deal with the people, we're going to deal with the cultures, and then we're going to deal with the spirituality, the fifth dimension, what we're here to talk about. So let's get into my notes. We're also going to be reading from a scholarly article called "The Understanding Origin of Mythology." So, and the guy's name is really hard to pronounce. So let me see. It's by Arvind Bhagwat. Okay, pretty detailed information. There's a lot of sources at the end. So, now, in this PDF, what he shows is he connects every culture based on circumpolar North Star. Okay, so I'm going to read this and I'm going to get to my notes. So if you notice this carefully, you'll find most of the heavens, mythologies, and deities and almost all religions and civilizations are associated with constellations in the north sky, and some visible from stars in the southern sky, which were visible for civilizations in the northern hemisphere. Heavens in almost all religions lie on the North Star, Saptarishi Mandala, and we're dealing with Hindu right now, is what this the culture that this guy actually subscribes to. So this gives the understanding that most of the ancient Vedas and Puranas was primarily developed by civilizations in the northern hemisphere. However, we have a story in Hindu mythology about a sage, Vishwamitra, supporting in creation of a parallel heaven in a portion of the southern sky near the South Pole during a fight with the Lord Indra, when Vishwamitra disciple Trishanku was not allowed by Indra in heaven, Indraloka, near the North Pole. Trishanku corresponds to the collection of three crosses around a crux, also known as the Southern Cross. Canopus is named after the great Agastya. Okay? So pretty much what I wanted to show is that all this revolves around the North Star. All these cultures revolve around the North Star. And I'm going to show you why. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit more into this. All right, further into the reading. Alright, so this is dealing with parallels in ancient heaven cosmology. Okay, so in Hindu scriptures, the 7 lokas above the earth are referred to as Bhuva, Suva, Maha, Jana, and Tapa, and Satya Loka. Each door opens to the next level or gate. After passing through the 7th door, you reach Satya Loka, or the Brahman or Lord Vishnu. And all religions refer God at the same Satya Loka location, Mula, the root. Largest functioning Hindu temples, the Sri Rangam temple of South India, which has been mimicked as Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu's abode on earth, has several enclosures, walls that give the same representation of a planetary system. And Vaikuntha Sagar is represented as the Milky Way. The same way we have 7 hills, seven ocean concepts to reach God. The seven heavens or the 7 gates concept would possibly be 7 ancient planetary systems above Earth till the Milky Way rift. This is the reason we organize our lives around a 7-day week and is based on these identified ancient 7 planets above our head. This 7-day structure has also supported in popular creation myths of the Greeks, Hinduism, and the book of Genesis, etc. These 7 celestial bodies visible to the naked eye during ancient times were the Sun, the Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. Now, all the creation myths of the Greeks, Hindus, the book of Genesis, Hebrews, the Egyptians, Romans, they all had this. The Mayans, they all had this same creation model. The earliest idea of the egg-shaped cosmos comes from one of these Sanskrit scriptures. The Sanskrit term for it is Brahmanda, which is derived from the words Brahma, the creator god in Hinduism, and Anda, meaning egg, the world egg. Okay, now I'm going to read from The Teaching of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, dealing with the babe in the blue egg. Okay, so this is dealing with the babe in the blue egg. The ancient symbol of the Orphic mysteries was the serpent entwined in the egg, which signified the cosmos as encircled by the fiery creative spirit. And this is dealing with Masonic symbolism. The egg also represents the soul of the philosopher, the serpent, the mysteries. Okay? At the end, or at the time of initiation, the shell is broken and a man emerges from the embryonic state of physical existence, where he had remained through the fetal period of philosophic regeneration. So if we go back to the other document dealing with the circumpolar North Stars and the babe in the blue egg, we'll see that these concepts, this symbolism, comes from other cultures and is dealing with a process of how to become God. Is dealing with taking a pathway, specific pathways that were laid out since Atlantean times, on how to get to a higher state of mind, a higher state of being, to become what? To become sons to our own universes. So let's go back and read what he says, and then we'll move forward from there. So the earliest idea of an egg-shaped cosmos comes from the Sanskrit scriptures. The Sanskrit term for the egg-shaped cosmos is Brahmanda, which is derived from 2 words, Brahma, the creator god in Hinduism, and Anda, meaning egg, the world egg. Let's move forward. So like Virat Purusha, as mentioned above, the Vedas and other ancient scriptures describe the Kala Purusha, the divine cosmic being, as personification of time, being the 12 zodiac representations of his different body parts. Further, the association of body parts with zodiac signs also remain relatively consistent from ancient era till today. The zodiac man, or the Kala Purusha, appeared most frequently in calendars, devotional books, and treatises on philosophy, astrology, and medicine in the medieval era. Below are presentations of Kala Purusha and Vastu Purusha, Vastu Shastra, which gives the directive principles regarding the construction of buildings, masonry, so as not to displease the Vastu Purusha. We can find these parallels in almost all religions and faiths. Dealing with the babe in the blue egg, the man in the egg, the man in the egg becoming God, being held in a fetal state, being taught until he's ready to become God, ready to take hold of that divine energy. Now, The mythology of the Vatsu as per ancient Puranas during the Vedic period, there lived a demon called the Anhakasura. Lord Shiva was requested to fight with the demon to protect the world, and while fighting with the demon, Lord Shiva was very much tired and began to sweat profusely. When the sweat fell on the earth, a child was born with a drop of Shiva's sweat. The child looked very cruel and horrifying and consumed all the blood from the body of the demon Anhakasura. His hunger was not satisfied until he felt very hungry. He began to grow steadily, eating all that came near his mouth. He occupied almost all the surface of the earth, killing all the inhabitants and destroying the nature. All the 5 elements of the galaxy, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, suffered by the growth of this child and could not carry their functions. This terrified even the gods in heaven. All the gods in heaven grouped together and planned to kill the child that was growing up so largely. They attacked it from all sides, laid it face down, and then they sat it on different body parts and pressed it inside the earth. Being bound like that, the child lay submerged, buried. In order to mollify the child, the gods bestowed the child with a boon that was known as the Vatsu. Since then, the worship of the Vatsu has been in practice and has become compulsory to follow certain rules to make the Vatsu happy and comfort. Soma Homa is normally done during housewarming ceremonies as a gesture to offer Soma to Vatsu Purusha. Homan or Havan is the offering of different types of pujas to various deities for fulfillment of wishes by welcoming the power of Agni, the fire god. Gruha Pravesham Puja pleases the Vatsu deity overall. In the Vedic religion, Rata, order, rule, truth, is the principle of natural order, which regulates and coordinates the operation of the universe and everything within it. In the hymn of the Vedas, the Rata, or the RTA, is described as that which ultimately is responsible for the proper functioning of the natural, moral, and sacrificial orders. Conceptually, it is closely allied. Okay, reading on. So Rata is described as that which ultimately is responsible for the proper functioning of the natural, moral order and sacrificial orders. Conceptually, is closely allied to the injunctions and ordinance thought to uphold it. Collectively referred to as dharma, and the action of the individual in relation to those ordinances referred to as karma, 2 terms which eventually eclipse Rata in importance as signifying natural, religious, and moral order, and later in Hinduism. Now, feather being light in weight, it was an ancient symbol to show emptiness, free from sin, lust, desires, misdeeds. It represented the truth, law, order, and justice in several ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians. In ancient hieroglyphics, before the origin of formal human writing, when we were still talking on the 5th dimension, like I said before, higher beings do not talk like we do. They use thoughts to communicate. Hieroglyphics is a higher form of writing or a higher form of sharing ideas because it uses that same concept, because at that point in time, they still had some of their memory intact. Now, the best way to represent this emptiness was the symbol of the feather because it does not have any weight. And for the Egyptians, this symbol showcased the soul that is free from sin, lust, desire, etc., and was placed on various deities of Egyptian, and several civilizations took this representation later that you can refer to. You can also find deities with a feather on their crown, even in the Mayan and Sumerian cultures too. And so they also show 2 comparisons of ancient Egypt and Lord Krishna. Both of them have feathers at the top of their head. And so the root of the word dar means to hold. Ma'at rata, the concept of truth, cosmic order, or law. Dharma, the holder of truth, law, justice, cosmic order, etc. In the Vedic religion, Rita means truth or order. Vedic Rita is an Avestan equivalent, Asa, both derived from the Proto-Indo-Iranian Haratas, which means truth, which is Indo-European. To be continued.